Hello everyone and welcome to Pivot Boss Masters. In this training we're going to discuss retraining your beliefs as a trader, which is under the core training section of our training. This is part of our theory training, and this is a very important subject. Obviously beliefs are very powerful, and we all have various belief structures that kind of shape the way we view the world, and again, these beliefs can also translate to your trading for good and for bad. So we're going to be talking some about trader mindset and psychology today. A lot of today's work comes from Mark Douglas's book, Trading in the Zone. So we're going to get started with this training right now. Let's go ahead and get started with retraining your beliefs as a trader. So Mark Douglas wrote the book Trading in the Zone. It's one of my favorite books. I mention all the time I have several favorite books that I like, including one of Dalton's books, Mind Over Markets. Trading in the Zone is one that I like as well, and others. But these books are books that you could read once or twice, every couple of years. You can read it once a year or once every couple of years, and you would glean some important knowledge that pertains to your current situation in the market. I mean, you're always going to find something that kind of relates to your situation that can help you through that time. It's such an incredible book, and it was written quite a few years ago, and it still applies so well. Trading in the Zone is not going to be one of those books that's going to help you learn how to trade, but it's going to help with a very important component of trading, which is mindset, belief structure, trader psychology, and that thing. And I remember when I was, an early trader, this type of book is not the type of book that I would have wanted to read, because quite frankly, when I was a novice trader or just beginning, my goal was to try and figure out, what am I supposed to do? What indicators am I supposed to pay attention to? What setups am I supposed to pay attention to? How do I read the market? Those types of fundamental things. But this type of book is not going to teach you that. Instead, it's going to teach you how to organize your beliefs in a way that help you perform better. And again, that's one of the most important parts of trading, in my opinion. You're going to see a lot of quotes from Mark Douglas in the next several slides. The first one here is about those traders who have confidence in their own trades, who trust themselves to do what needs to be done without hesitation, are the ones who become successful. That is one of the most important quotes there in the entire book, and it's right in the beginning, in the preface, basically. And it's something that I really believe in. It's having the confidence in yourself and in your approach, and to know and trust yourself to do what has to be done in that situation. And that's where you've really kind of mastered trading in a way. It's that, whatever the market throws at you, you're not going to get rattled. You're going to work off of your framework. You're going to follow your rules, and you're going to manage your risk just like you would any other opportunity. So again, it's about understanding yourself in order to get better. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So this course is really about bringing awareness to your current belief structure and how it could be helping or hindering your performance as a trader. So we're going to delve into some approaches here to retraining your beliefs so that you can maximize your capability as a trader. So again, in order to have confidence in your trades and all that, you have to remove some of those things that hinder us in trading. Some of those topics are fear of missing out, any negativity and bad habits. Those are very powerful forces in someone's life, and especially in trading, because especially in trading there's a monetary factor that's there. In your life, if you have some of these concepts, you can kind of retreat and just kind of close yourself off. But if you have these that are permeating through your trading, it's going to directly affect your bottom line, and that's very important. I mean, you can see right away, if you're trading with fear, you're going to see quite a bit of drawdown in your account. So the traders who kind of successfully push through those negative points and kind of create a powerful mindset that helps them kind of become the trader that they can be, are those traders who finally become confident in their approach, the traders that find confidence through probabilities and outcomes that have high probabilities, right? If you focus on those high probability outcomes, you have a better likelihood of succeeding. Now, every single opportunity is different, but over the long haul, these opportunities will, kind of average out to your edge. It's almost like gambling in a casino, right? Every single hand at a blackjack table is different, but over the course of many, many hands, a trader or a blackjack player can actually consistently win. With odds on their favor, and obviously with the type of hand they're dealt. Every single hand is different, but over time the edge will prove itself. And that's the same thing with trading. Not every time you buy below value is not going to result in a winner. But every time you buy below value over the course of a long statistical data set, the odds will prove out and the probabilities will prove out in your favor. So understanding that is very important. So these traders no longer fear the erratic behavior of the market. They learn to focus on the information that helps them spot opportunities to make a profit rather than focusing on the information that reinforces their fears. And again, it's about understanding information and the probabilities. So one thing we're going to talk about is fear, because fear is a big component of trading. When someone trades with fear, all the things that can go wrong, because again, you're trading from a fear mindset. But if you're able to adjust that, change your belief structure, gain confidence through your approach and those types of things, you're able to no longer really fear what the market can throw at you. Instead, you take the information the market's given you, you process it into probabilities, and then you create an approach that basically manages the risk for that opportunity at hand. And that's basically how you want to engage the market. Every single day the market's going to throw things at you that you may not expect, but you have to know that at any given time anything can happen in the market. I say it every single day in the trading room. Every single day anything can happen at any given time. So if you kind of throw out your beliefs of what's supposed to happen and just kind of carefree let it happen, and just manage the risk and trade your probability edge, you're going to come out okay. So we're going to talk some more about these concepts. Number one, if there's 4 things that you want to improve, it's your mindset, your discipline, your focus, and your confidence. We want to remove the fear from our trading. We want to remove fear of missing out, or FOMO. We want to remove negativity or any negative thoughts or habits that we have. We want to remove the bad habits. Replace all of these with things that help promote positive things in the market. So that's what we're going to focus on here. We're going to go on to the next slide, which is facing your fears. So here's a great quote right here from Mark Douglas. Really sums up a whole lot. If you're unable to trade without the slightest bit of emotional discomfort, specifically fear, then you have not learned how to accept the risks inherent in trading. This is a big problem because to whatever degree you haven't accepted the risk is the same degree to which you will avoid the risk. Trying to avoid something that is unavoidable will have disastrous effects on your ability to trade successfully. And so again, fear can be so powerful, just a powerful force in folks trading, and it can be a bad thing. Fear of losing money. These are the top trader fears as Mark Douglas describes them. Fear of losing money, fear of being wrong, fear of missing out, and fear of leaving money on the table. And again, these are concepts that I talk about quite a bit in our trading room. Every single day there's something like this that we can talk about. For the most part, fear of leaving money on the table is something that I just throw out of my mind. I just don't even pay attention to it. I try to understand what happened at that moment and then try to get better from it the next time, but I really don't care if I left money on the table, especially if I made money. For example, the recent trade in Win is a great example. We rejected 160. I got in the 150s, 158, 159 zone. And we were looking for 170, and it got to 170. Not only that, it got to 180. Not only that, it got to 190s, all in a few days. It kept gapping and running, and so I completely undershot the target on that one. But again, I didn't have any concern about leaving that money on the table. Instead, I looked at it as a learning opportunity and looked to get better the next time. Same thing with fear of missing out. That's such a big one. FOMO is huge because so many traders are so scared of missing out on an opportunity that they will execute entries and trades at the most inopportune times because they don't want to get left behind. And that is such a horrible way to engage the market because you're going to constantly get fills that are not optimal. You're not going to be at the best pricing that you can be. Instead, you're going to be chasing. And again, fear of missing out is not something that I really suffer from. I kind of threw that out a long time ago because, again, I have kind of a realistic, probabilistic mindset that says, you know what, every single day there's a million opportunities. So if I miss one today, that's okay because there's another 100 coming tomorrow and another 100 coming the day after that. I mean, there's always opportunity in the market. You just have to find it and just be patient about it. And, obviously fear of losing money is one of those that a lot of traders really struggle with at the outset. Fear of losing money is huge. I mean, why would you want to lose your hard-earned money? Especially if you're trading an account that is, for example, your life savings. If this is your retirement account, then obviously there's going to be some fear there because you don't want to lose this. This is something that you want to either continue to pad the balance and continue to build some income off of it while keeping the entire account intact. You want to maintain that overall equity and continue to build income, but you don't want to lose it because this is something that you're going to have to live off of through your retirement. So there can obviously be some understandable fear. But again, I would say that fear does not help in the market. Instead, you have to be prepared. You have to understand the probabilities. And perhaps you have to trade smaller. And that's one thing that can really help with overcoming fear in trading is trading smaller, right? If you're not fearful of losing that money, then you will have a little bit more of a carefree mindset that allows you to let the opportunity to continue to play out instead of fearing losing that money. So again, if you trade smaller, that will help. Number one, fear of losing money. And fear of being wrong. This is something that one of my managers told me so long ago. He said, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? And in the market, if you want to be right, you're not likely going to have a good time trading, right? Because being right in the market is just something that it's fool's gold, right? You have to go with the probabilities. You have to go with what's going on. And oftentimes, you don't have to be right to make money. And again, we've been working with lots of different opportunities and strategies, especially with options recently here in the trading room, where it doesn't matter what the market does. For the most part, we can make money on that opportunity as long as it doesn't just fall off the map, right? As long as price doesn't completely go to zero, we can still make money because of the way we structure a trade. So again, these are the top trader fears, the 4 fears that Mark Douglas talks about in his book. These are fears that we talk about in our trading room every single day. And again, being able to kind of eliminate this fear will help so much in getting you toward a consistent outcome in your trading. Right here it says 95% of the trading errors you are likely to make, causing the money to just evaporate before your eyes, will stem from your attitudes about being wrong, losing money, missing out, and leaving money on the table, what I call the 4 primary trading fears. And again, these are very common among most traders. And I'll be honest, I've experienced every single one of these all the time for a long time. And that doesn't even mean that I won't experience it from time to time now. It's just I actively practice the mindset of trying to eliminate that fear from my mindset and instead focus on the odds and the probabilities, which means having a more objective mindset toward what's going on. So how do we remove fear from our trading? Mark Douglas says here, when you learn the trading skill of risk acceptance, the market will not be able to generate information that you define or interpret as painful. That is so important. right? When you learn the trading skill of risk acceptance, when you accept the risk that's inherent in whatever you're doing, the market will not be able to generate information that you define or interpret as painful. Defining or interpreting something as painful is a belief that will get you in trouble, because now every time that happens, you will have kind of a, a fight or flight mindset toward it, right? And that puts all of our barriers up as a human. And so instead, if the information the market generates doesn't have the potential to cause you emotional pain, there's nothing to avoid. It is just information telling you what the possibilities are. This is called an objective perspective, one that is not skewed or distorted by what you are afraid is going to happen or not happen. So again, that's very powerful. I mean, it's incredible how Mark Douglas writes a book, because it seems like I could highlight almost every line of the book because it's just written so well. And this is one of those things. Again, if the information or whatever the market's telling you doesn't give you a fear or an emotional pain, then there's nothing to avoid. It's just probabilities, right? And understanding that is very important. So developing an objective perspective is something that's very, very important. And you do this by building your perspective based on probabilities. So when you base your belief structure on probabilities, you just let the odds take effect, right? Again, if you're at the roulette table, you know the odds are not likely in your favor. And so you may not be placing huge bets, right? If you go over to, again, a lot of this pertains to gambling, because again, gambling, you don't have a huge edge in gambling, right? In the blackjack table, you have, I think the house has perhaps a 4.5% edge over the player, right? That's not huge. But again, over a long stretch of outcomes, right? Over a long data set, that edge will play out. That 4.5% will be quite big, right? I mean, if you have a casino, a blackjack table, and over the course of a year, $100 million has been wagered at that table, 4.5% would put you at $4.5 million profit, right? Over time. But every single blackjack hand has a unique outcome. Every outcome, right? So whenever you get dealt a new hand, it's a 50-50, whether you make money or lose money. When you get into a trade, it's 50-50, whether you make money or lose money. When you flip a coin, it's 50-50. If you flip a coin and it comes up heads, and then you flip it again, it comes up heads. Then you flip it again, it comes up heads. You got 3 heads in a row. A gambler's fallacy would think that, hey, you know what? Odds favor another heads. But when you flip that coin again, the odds don't improve because of what happened before it. It still has 50-50 odds. The same thing is with trading. Every trade is 50-50 odds. It's either going to make money or lose money. But if you play the trades that have the odds and the probabilities in your favor over a long data set, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years out, if you keep playing the odds, your edge will come out over that time. And I say this all the time, right? We talk about these things every single day in the trading room. For the most part, we talk about these odds in terms of value area, for example. If price comes below the value area low and cannot continue to push lower, or if price comes below a market structure low and can't go lower, odds favor. 80% of the time, you're likely going to get a move that takes you back up across that value area toward the other side of that market structure, right? So understanding odds will help give you a much more objective perspective, and then that's the type of perspective that you really need to kind of tackle the market every single day. So here it says, to eliminate the emotional risk of trading, you have to neutralize your expectations about what the market will or will not do at any given moment or in any given situation. So if you really believe the market's about to rally big time, right? And you have such expectations that it's about to rally. The greater your expectations, the greater that you will be disappointed when it does not rally and instead fails, right? So again, neutralize your expectations about what the market can or will do. I say it all the time. The market can do anything at any time. Number one, at any moment in time, every single trader in the entire world that's trading the market at that one moment in time can affect the market significantly. One trader can affect the outcome of price at any moment in time with one huge trade or one fat finger or something. And then one algorithm triggers another, and then one program triggers another. Anything can happen at any time. So it's better to kind of remove or neutralize your expectations about what's going to happen and instead play the odds. Manage the risk and play the odds, right? So here are some fear solutions. Number one, you have to know risk is unavoidable in the market. Risk is unavoidable. So if you're fearful of the risk, you have to get over that because it's unavoidable. Because without risk, there is no reward. As a matter of fact, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. If you have not much risk, then you're probably not going to have much reward. So it's all proportional, right? Greater risk, greater reward. So if you want to have huge trades, then you probably have to risk some, right? So you have to risk what's comfortable for you. And again, what's comfortable is going to be based off of probabilities, that type of thing. Again, managing the risk according to the probability of the outcome in front of you. So rather than attributing fear to execute a trade, fear of losing money or being wrong, any one of those four fears we talked about, redefine what risk means for the trade. So this goes to kind of restructuring your belief system. Instead of saying risk is bad and now I should be fearful, you should say, you know what? I'm going to redefine the risk according to the probability of profitability. So that means if the odds of profitability are good, then that's going to be a quote-unquote good risk. If the odds of profitability are bad, then that's a bad risk, right? So again, you're going based off the odds and you're trying to restructure that belief system. Take trades that offer good risk characteristics, which helps to associate a positive mindset to the trade and the eventual outcome, regardless of if the trade profits or loses, right? So if you take a trade that has good risk, you know the odds in your favor. You bought below S3, you bought in an uptrend, you bought when price was below the previous week's low and it's popping above. All of those things have such great odds that even if that trade loses money, you can feel good about that trade, even if it lost money, because you knew that the odds were worth it. I hope that makes sense because that is such an important point. It goes back to just everybody's belief system and their belief structure, because everyone has a different belief structure for every single thing. And that belief structure starts to form a part of you that sees the world in a certain way. And I try to teach this to my kids all the time, especially my oldest, when she is fearful of something. And I'm thinking, you know what? Only you are fearful of this situation. And so it's hindering your performance in what you want to do. I said, if you look at somebody else, they might not be fearful of what you're fearful of, so they push through because they're not fearful of it. I said, everybody has a different belief structure. And so if you just remove that fear and instead look at things objectively based on odds and probabilities, you'll be okay. Like some people are so scared of the ocean because there's sharks in there, right? But the odds of being bit by a shark are very, very low. That doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means don't worry about it and instead go enjoy yourself because the odds are super low, right? Now, if you see a fin in the water, get out, right? Because now the odds increase that you're about to get bit. But again, it's all based on the information at hand and having a belief structure, right? So again, I would really, really ask that you reframe or reframe your belief structure for many things that you do in the market and jot those down into a notebook. When you see yourself thinking, man, I just got stopped out to the tick. That always happens to me. That's a belief that is causing you to get stopped out to the very tick, right? And I used to have that belief. I used to think, man, I just got stopped out to the tick and then it turned around and hit my target. How many times has that happened to me? And I used to think that I was just, getting picked on by the market. And again, that's not a mindset that is a winning or consistent mindset. Instead, it's one that is, being a victim instead, right? Instead, control the situation and know that the market does not have, any bias. The market is the market, and it's up to us to position ourselves at the right spots and to manage our risk. That's it. That's all it is. So creating a probabilistic mindset now is very, very important. And Mark Douglas says here, to think in probabilities, you have to create a mental framework or mindset that is consistent with the underlying principles of a probabilistic environment. And so again, you have to just think in terms of probabilities. What are the odds of this thing happening or playing out? If the odds are good, place the bet. If the odds are not good, don't place the bet. Or if the odds are okay, perhaps you leg into that trade, right? You scale in. Give it a shot to prove itself, right? But again, you have to think in terms of probabilities. And right here, in order to create the right mindset or a probabilistic mindset, Mark Douglas says you have to understand these 5 fundamental truths. And these are written exactly as they are in the book. So I did not change any of this information here. It's exactly as it is in the book. Number 1, anything can happen. I say it all the time. And I don't say it just because I read the book, because I didn't even know this was really even in here when I began saying it. I just knew that at the time. Anything can happen in the market. At any one moment, there could be a flash crash. We don't know when the next flash crash is coming, but it's coming. There will be another flash crash. There will always be another flash crash, right? Something can happen. Anything can happen. I didn't think the NQ was going to rally to a new high today and just take off, but you know what? It did. But we understood it early on. We focused on where it could go, and then we just let it happen, right? So you have to know anything can happen. Number 2, you don't need to know what is going to happen next to make money. You don't. You can structure any type of strategy that can help you take advantage of the situation. You don't have to exactly know what's going to happen, because you never know exactly what's going to happen, right? We can only look for cues that can help us, that can help guide us into understanding what may occur. But again, anything can happen. So that trade can completely fall apart with one market participant, being a weak hand or whatever the case is. Number 3, there is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. This goes back to gambling. This goes back to the earlier point where if you're at the blackjack table, the house knows they have a 4.5% edge over the player. But they also know that in any given hand, they can lose. So that's what number 3 is about. There's a random distribution between wins and losses. At any given time, anything can happen. But over the long haul, the edge will play out. So number 4, an edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. So we have odds that we use, right? I always feel like the odds are in our favor because we use tools that reflect value. We use tools that reflect the auction. When I use Pivot Boss pivots, it's reflecting the auction. It's giving me the previous high, the previous low. It's giving me the close price. These are very important to understanding what may happen because it's based purely on price. When we're using Pivot Boss bands, it's based off of value, right? S3 is 3 standard deviations below value. So if price gets to that area, I know there's higher odds of a fade back to value in certain situations. So basically understand that an edge is just basically that something has higher odds of working out than something else. And number 5, every moment in the market is unique. Every trade is its own trade. Just because the last one worked doesn't mean the next one will work. Just because you lost money on the last one doesn't mean you're going to lose money on the next one. Every one is its own thing. So those are the 5 fundamental truths. And if you create a mindset based on these truths, it helps you moving forward. So number 1 on creating the right mindset, it says adopting the 5 truths aligns your expectations with the realities of the market. You don't have these false realities about what should happen or what is supposed to happen. Instead, you work based off the odds, you manage your risk, and either it works or it doesn't work, right? Either way, you're not tied to that result. You just move on to the next one, and over time, your edge will play out. Number 2, eliminate defining and interpreting market information as painful or threatening, or anything negative, right? So you have to, again, retrain your beliefs into not thinking that something is bad or painful, because then it's going to trigger, a part of your mind that is billions of years in the making that, forces you to protect yourself, fight or flight type of thing, right? But instead, what you should do is just read the odds and just go with the odds. Number 3, it says create a carefree state of mind that completely accepts the risks and uncertainties of the market. If you're going to be fearful that the market's going to take your money, that's just no way to be trading. You have to just let it happen. Now, that doesn't mean put a huge trade out there and then let it happen. It means manage your risk in a way that if you lost that money, it's not going to make or break you, right? It's just a little bit of change, and now let's try the next one. So this is always such a good exercise, especially if you're still inconsistent, is just to basically drop your size. Drop your size in a way that it doesn't matter if you lose that money. And when you drop your size to that way, you will try many, many things over and over, and you're going to see over time that as you work toward executing high probability trades, over time that edge will play out. And again, you don't really have an emotional attachment to that risk or money because it's not very sizable. But if you put on 100 lot on crude, you're going to have an emotional attachment. You're going to be freaking out with every single tick up or down against your trade, and that's going to do things that just really are not helpful in your trading. So again, trade a little smaller to where every time you're putting money on the line, you're not really worried about the risk involved because you've accepted the risk, you've accepted that you can lose that money, and you've accepted the odds, and you know that the odds will likely play out in your favor over time, but it may not play out in your favor on this trade. Number 4, by adopting these beliefs, your mind will defend them just as it does other beliefs. Beliefs are so strong. They're so strong. Again, you could pick beliefs on any subject you want. I mean, there's so many strong beliefs. You can go to political beliefs or religious beliefs or any kind of thing. I mean, people have the strongest beliefs. But that doesn't mean they're right. That just means what you believe. And what you believe then begins to shape how you view the world and the information that comes to you. So if that's the case, try to adopt the beliefs that will work in your favor. So number 4, adopting beliefs is all about adopting the 5 fundamental truths to the left. Adopt those beliefs that anything can happen. And when you adopt that belief that anything can happen, my brain will start to defend that belief just like it would any of my other beliefs. And that's very, very powerful because you're defending the right beliefs as it pertains to the market. Number 5, define your beliefs in accordance with the probability of outcomes. Again, if you're thinking in terms of odds, you're going to do much, much better. You really, really are. In terms of mindset, in terms of how you approach the next trade, especially if you lost on the last one. And that's why when I engage the market, I'm usually focused on my highest odds opportunities. Failed market structure, rejection, trending markets with pullbacks to the trigger zone or to the pivot range, right? There's certain trades. You got the high volatility fade, which we talked about in our ADR training, right? There's these certain trades that just, I know that they have great odds of working out, but that does not mean that they will always work out. But I know the odds are there, so when I see it, I got to take the trade, I got to mind my risk, and regardless of the outcome, I just got to keep on moving forward. So again, these 5 fundamental truths, so powerful. We talk about anything can happen almost every single day in the trading room. I say it all the time. Anything can happen in the market. These 5 fundamental truths are so powerful. And again, aligning yourself with these truths can be very powerful, especially in terms of the outcome of your trading. Creating a belief in consistency. So this again goes to retraining your belief structure. Mark Douglas says here, the first step in the process of creating consistency is to start noticing what you're thinking, saying, and doing. Why? Because everything we think, say, or do as a trader contributes to and therefore reinforces some belief in our mental system. So again, what you're thinking is very important. What you're doing, what you're saying, all these various things, very important as you're trading. Oftentimes, again, if you're thinking that, man, I always miss this trade, or I always get stopped out to the tick, or whatever it is, those are beliefs that you're continuing to give energy to, and that energy will continue to live and do its thing. I mean, this might seem, kind of, I don't know the word, but it could seem way out there, right? In terms of, ooh, this guy here is thinking kind of fancy here or something. But for the most part, I really believe a lot of this here in terms of how things play out. I mean, it really is some sort of energy that just kind of, recurs. It really does. So again, if you kind of believe that, then you can then work on becoming a consistent winner by believing certain things. So what Mark Douglas says is, you know what? If we're going to retrain our belief system, then believe that you are a consistent winner. Believe that you are a consistent winner, and then believe it because of these 7 points. So I am a consistent winner because, number 1, I objectively identify my edges. Objectively identifying your edges means you are basing that information on probabilities. I have an edge because the likelihood of this playing out is good, right? And that's, again, failed market structure. We saw this in crude oil the other day. 61.80. It was a great market structure level. I didn't think it was going to break. I thought it was going to hold. But it broke. And as it broke, I said, well, because it broke, that means it's likely going back toward the bottom of the previous market structure, which is like 60. And it did. It dropped right to 60. Took a day and a half, right? It was that day, it broke halfway. The next day, it was already there. And then at 60, it bounced and went right back to 61.80. I mean, that right there is what I talk about all the time. I believe that will happen. When it fails that market structure, I believe that it's likely going to retrace and go across the previous market structure. And because I believe and objectively believe that edge, right, I can be confident in playing that edge when it presents itself. Number 2, I predefine the risk of every trade. This seems simple and easy. But, it's incredible how many traders won't do this, especially novice traders. I know if you're a Masters member, and if you've been a Masters member for any amount of time, you've put a lot of our techniques into use. You have your scaling techniques, scaling in, scaling out, whatever the case is. You have all these different techniques that you use to define your risk and understand what's going on in the market and position yourself right. But novice traders and traders that are reckless, they don't do this. And that's when they start taking a day trade, and then all of a sudden it's an investment. Right? Because now what they bought at 20 is worth 12, and they're like, uh-oh, I'm not getting out of this thing. I'm just going to hold on and hope that it comes back to 20, right? and that's no way to trade. So predefine the risk of every trade. I'm a consistent winner because I completely accept the risk, or I am willing to let go of this trade. Again, you understand the risk at hand. You're not going to put any more than you're willing to lose. And if you're wrong and you can see the point at which that trade is starting to turn, let go of it. Get out of it. If you only have 5 trades that you can trade in a week, trade the ones that you really want to be in. Trade the ones that you have to have. If you can only be in 5 stocks or 5 futures contracts or 5 trades overall, trade the ones that you really want to trade. And if you get into something that's not working out like you thought it would, let go. Get out and let's try again, right? Number 4, I act on my edges without reservation or hesitation. If you see the edge and you see the trade, take the trade, right? And if that trade goes in your favor, you have to pay yourself, as number 5 says. I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. So as price pushes in your favor, you're looking to take profits at predefined areas. Scaling out at areas, right? We talk about scaling all the time. So as the market moves in your favor, because think about it this way. If you get into a trade at, say, 60 in the 60 in crude oil, and it bounces, your risk is a certain amount at the outset of the trade. But now say price is now at 61.60 like it was today. It rallied over a point, almost 2 points today. Well, the farther you get away from your entry, the more risk now that you have, because now you have risk of money that you've built into that trade. So you don't want it to go all the way against you, right? So you have to pay yourself as the market moves in your favor. That's always very, very important. Number 6, I continually monitor my susceptibility for making errors. This goes to execution and journaling. I'm a big believer in journaling. I've been inconsistent in keeping a journal all the time, I'll be honest, but at the same time, when it's important, and I definitely do it. And every single time I take a trade, I still screenshot the trade. And that's part of journaling that I still do, right? If I'm taking a trade, I screenshot the trade, and then I mark it up. This is where I entered, this is what I'm thinking, and then when the trades exits, then we can do a post-mortem, right? This is what happened, this is what we made or lost, and again, that goes to helping you execute better the next time. So if you're continually susceptible to making errors, journaling and reviewing your trades in that way will help you eliminate those errors. Again, I always go back to athletes. The way that athletes train and perform, it's right in line with trading. I mean, you look at Peyton Manning or you look at Tom Brady. These guys are the best, some of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game, and yet they still take all the coaching from all the various coaches they have, from position coaches to head coaches to, personal coaches, and then they're watching video or film of every single throw that they threw in practice, and every single handoff that they did in practice, and every single throw they did in the game last Sunday so they can prepare next Sunday. Like, they're watching and preparing and trying to get better. The same should be said of you as well. If you're taking a trade, then look to categorize that trade, right? Chronicle it in your journal, categorize it as a winner or a loser, why it happened, what was the setup, that type of thing. You'll get better from that process. Number 7, I understand the absolute necessity of these principles of consistent success, and therefore I never violate them. So again, you have to have a form of discipline. You have to be disciplined in this game, right? And so if you accept these 7 items here as kind of your little blueprint for moving forward, then you can't violate these rules, right? You have to continue to exert discipline in following these rules and others, because again, the one time that you let go of your risk control is the one time where you're about to take a big hit in the account, because you never know what's going to happen next. Anything can happen. And we only have to go back to short VIX, right? short volatility, the trade that blew up the market here recently, blew up portfolios and funds all over the world, that went from, millions of dollars down to literally almost zero because they were short volatility. They did not think the thing would blow up, and in one day it blows up. Anything can happen at any one time, so you have to continue to basically practice discipline in every single thing you do, mind your risk, and continue to play the odds that are in front of you. Well, that pretty much concludes what we were discussing here in terms of retraining your beliefs as a trader. These concepts are very, very powerful. Again, a lot of these quotes are directly from the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I would encourage each and every one of you to give the book a read. It's one of those books that you can read once a year and still feel really good about spending that time reading that book. It's just such a great book. And again, Trading in the Zone is one of those books that just I keep right next to my desk all the time, along with a whole stack of books, and it's something that I continue to look at. But in terms of your belief structure, I think it's very, very powerful to have a belief structure that's healthy, that basically is objective in whatever can occur in the market, any outcome, and in that way you will be more mindful of the risk and the opportunities at hand. Look to only play the best probability outcomes, and in doing so, in knowing that the trade that you're playing is a high probability outcome, your mindset will be one that will be at ease as the trade plays out. Additionally, if it loses money, you can feel good that, you know what, that was a good trade, and I would take that trade every time because the odds favor. Even though it missed on this one, next time it may hit, because over time that trade will hit more often than not. So again, retraining your beliefs, such a powerful subject as a trader. I know as traders, especially as I first started out, I was all about the hot setup, the hot indicator, those types of things. But as you mature in this game, you also know that mindset, belief structure, those types of things are so super important. It goes in tandem with the actual execution portion of trading. So again, thank you all for joining me for this topic, retraining your beliefs as a trader. It's been a lot of fun discussing this topic, and again, employ some of these techniques. Let me know what you think. And again, thank you so much for being part of this training, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.